There's a fine of £105 million. £105 million coming from Europe. Now, you have all heard about it and you have all said that's terrible. But let me tell you how it happened. This is what you don't know. How this £105 million of a fine came about. And here's something else you don't know. Who's going to have to pay it? It is the ordinary farmer who is going to have to pay it. Why did you get that fine? Well, I'll tell you why you got that fine. Constructive, organised campaign by Republicans to clean the government and to clean the system. And basically what they were doing, they were making false claims. They were claiming for land that didn't exist, or claiming for land that was bog land. And I gave them the 4 names of 4 top IRA men. The only way, how they actually found out at the finish up about what we had been trying to bring to the attention of DARD was through the Google Maps. Basically, a satellite from Europe took an image of this part of the United Kingdom, and whenever they cross-referenced the maps, the Google Maps, with the land, Northern Ireland would have been about a third the size of what it already is. But here's the point. For years I was telling them that certain individuals were doing this. And where the war found out, it was buried by people at the head of DARD. It is just unbelievable. It is like the bank robber leaving the bank and the head of CID saying, "Don't worry boys, I'll close the door on the way out." That's exactly what was going on here. But we've only found out by chance, because the very individual who was doing it was the individual who made the recommendation that we be investigated. It's another way of keeping the IRA happy in South Armagh. That may be well and good, but it's not right. It is morally wrong how they're buying these gunmen off. And what happens when this money all stops? What happens then? And it was bad enough that they were getting away with the millions, but now you're going to have to pay 105 million in subsidies, in fines, because a blind eye was torn. 105 million pound you're going to have to pay in fines, not because you've done anything wrong, but because the Republicans have creamed the system and they had people in DARD who were covering up for them. Is it any wonder Sinn Féin took agriculture this last 2 times? It was no coincidence. It was no accident. It was done by design. They had their people already in there. And whenever complaints was made, it was buried, not by an individual down the track, but at the head of some of these departments. And I'll prove that before I'm finished. These people have been making claims for slurry tanks that they weren't building. They were getting £52,000 in claims, in grants for slurry tanks that they never built. They were getting money for machinery that was brought onto their farm, and a certain individual was brought out to inspect it, and as soon as he went out, the machinery went down the lane after him. The same machinery was used for numerous claims. But that's not the find. That's just the type of scams that was going on. Now, we did everything to try and expose it. I can prove I made that phone call near 4 years ago. I can prove them 4 individuals in particular. I'm sticking to them 4 because them was the 4 that I reported on this particular case that had creamed thousands. One of them only owned 6 acres of land. 6 acres. And he was getting thousands every year in subsidies. But whenever it was brought to the boss man, he threw it in the bin. Because he threw it in the bin, used ordinary, genuine farmers, both Catholic and Protestant, are going to have to fork up 105 million. Not 1.5 million, 105 million you're going to have to cough up, because there was a network within DARD who covered up for the IRA. Guess who made the recommendation that FAIR be investigated? The very organisation that does the investigations for DARD investigated FAIR. And we tried and tried to warn the people in power. But little did we know, the very people we were trying to warn were the people who were actually covering it up. Who would ever have dreamt that some of the top men was actually covering up what was going on? Now, the same individual is the individual who recommended an investigation into us. Recommended an investigation into me. Because he's seen the opportunity. He's seen for years that I was the one passing on the information about all the rogues in South Armagh and all the skullduggery that was going on. That's the mindset. Well, it's not okay, because that money could have been going to legit farmers. It could have been going to the ordinary farmer who was getting it tight, who needed that money, but instead it was being creamed off. But every time we were reporting it, it was getting put in the bin. Not by the officers who were investigating it, but by the men at the very top. Because this individual that had these things set in front of him recommended no prosecution because it wasn't in the public interest. This same individual who's been covering for the IRA was brought in to investigate us. And he made the recommendation that we be investigated by the police. The only one. I can't help but laugh. You couldn't write the script for it. The man who has been getting all this and was burying all this to do with the IRA and Republicans. Now, I'm not going to quit. If I have to get into a rowing boat and go to Brussels, I will get into a rowing boat and go to Brussels. Because before I'm finished, I will expose exactly what's been going on.